The stealth genre has been around for quite a long time in games, whether it be the original Castle Wolfenstein or original Metal Gear, or more modern ones like Assassin's Creed or Splinter Cell. And now there's a new game called Level 22 Gary's Misadventure, which goes back to kind of an old school feel with its sprite-based artwork. But is this new downloadable stealth game one that sneaks to success? Or is it one that should just kind of be left, well, in the shadows? Level 22 is a stealth-based puzzle game with a sprite art style. You're playing as Gary, a character that wakes up after a long night of partying after his birthday and finds that he's not only hungover, but extremely late for work. He must then sneak into his office building, working his way slowly to level 22, where his office is located, before he ends up getting caught. To do so, you're going to have to sneak around other employees and use various different objects. You also have to get past scientists and even robots, as well as a few boss battles thrown in. Level 22 is always changing things up, from level to level, adding new items that you need to use, or just adding overall different stealth-type elements to make things interesting. Level 22 is broken up into 4 worlds, with 5 levels each, 4 regular ones, and then a boss fight thrown in at the end. The goal of each level is to explore the office-based space that you're in, whether it be a parking lot or the actual individual offices, or a research and development laboratory. And eventually your goal is to sneak around enough so you can reach the staircase at the end of the level and move on to the next floor or next stage. Besides your typical kind of sneaking around the corners, hiding in the shadows, and getting past enemies when they're looking the other way, the game provides a decent amount of various items to also help with the puzzle solving, including stuff like donuts that you can place on the ground and have enemies eat it for a little bit while you go past, cups of coffee that you can spill on machinery in order to cause it to spark, also causing enemies to get distracted. You can dip donuts in poison to help you out, or pour laxative into your fellow employees' coffee cups in order to cause them to go running to the bathroom so that you can get an item that may be just in front of them. You'll also have stuff like the Metal Gear Solid staple cardboard box that you can use to move around and then stand still with it. You can also use a newspaper to go incognito for a period of time. And there's also a few surprises that are thrown in, including one item late in the game that's really fun to actually use in not only the puzzle solving, but taking out some of the various enemies. To help Gary along his way, his friend Marty, who was fired by the company at a previous date, is always ready via the cell phone and be calling you at random times to give you information on certain items and how they work. The game does a good enough job of kind of giving you basic tutorials for every time you find yourself in a new situation, instead of just dropping you off with no instructions whatsoever. Not being the best at stealth games by any means, I was definitely a little bit worried about picking up the game. But I approached it more of like a puzzle game, and I definitely had a lot of fun and had a lot of engagement trying to figure out exactly how to get past that next enemy, running into them 3 or 4 times in a row and getting caught, and then realizing that there is a split second that I can go by, or there was a closet or car trunk I could jump in, or maybe I just hadn't found the right item yet that I needed. There are definitely some fun moments, including when you get the ability to use a slingshot and needing to use it on conveyor belts to distract enemies and hit various switches to switch the order of those said conveyor belts. While I won't say that the game is a cakewalk, this is one of those games that everybody is going to have their own different experience and difficulty with it. I went through some levels and breezed completely by them, and then other stages I died or got caught quite a few times before eventually slowly figuring it out. On average, I would say each of the 4 worlds took me about 30 to 45 minutes in total, and that was also looking around for the collectibles in the game. All of the main stages have not only a secret for you to find via a save, and you have to find various code objects spread out throughout the entire level, decipher the code, and then enter it into the safe in order to get one of these secret items. As well as there are collectible toys, and these are all based on various video games and other pop culture, as you'll find the first one is a Batman toy, and then you'll find a Wolverine one a little bit later on, of course, called slightly different things, so no copyright is infringed. But it's a fun time not only trying to figure out how to get past a level, but also to find all the secrets and the various toys in each of the stages. While I didn't really run into too many technical issues like slowdown, I did run into a couple of minor glitches, stuff like clipping through various objects, including like the main doors when you enter into a level. When you just start off, you can kind of clip behind like the outline of the staircase in the doorway itself, which I felt was a little bit weird, but nothing that took away from my experience by any means. The soundtrack that goes along with the levels, well, not my favorite of kind of the retro-style sprite-based games that I've played even just lately, but the music got its job done, and there's a couple of things I wouldn't mind listening to outside of the game, but it didn't blow me away by any means. Besides just the main levels of you sneaking around, you also have the boss fights, and there is good variety here. There are 4 bosses in total, and they're all different from one another. You're not seeing repeated styles of boss fights. I found the first 2 bosses much more challenging than the last 2, but of course that's going to be kind of subjective to how quickly you're able to figure out how to defeat a boss and what you need to go about, or being able to get out of the line of sight, because not only are you usually dealing with a boss, you're also dealing with some of the other like cronies that are walking around the office, and if they spot you, it is a game over. Now, the game features infinite continues, and in the boss fights you have to though start at the very beginning of the fight if you end up dying during it. However, during the normal levels, there are lots of checkpoints, usually based around if you get through like a certain like an air duct or something like that, or you end up finding an item that you need to help you out. I wouldn't say that the checkpoint system is absolutely perfect, as there was a couple of times it got a little bit annoying that it put me back so far, but for the most part the checkpoints worked quite well and allowed me not to get really frustrating of having to redo the entire level, though each of the stages, once you figure them out, are usually between 3 and 5 minutes long apiece. The artwork in the game I actually found quite cute, like the chibi forms of the characters. I thought they had some nice colors and some nice animations to go along with them, but of course that's going to be more subjective to how you prefer your sprite-based artwork. Overall, I definitely enjoyed my time with Level 22 Gary's Misadventure, though it was way too short. I beat through the whole game while finding most of the collectibles. I found all the toys and a bunch of the secrets as well, even though that's going to take me a little bit more time in order to figure it out. It took about 2.5 hours to play through the game. Now, it is only $6.99 currently available on the PlayStation Network, and I think it's the same price on all the platforms, which is also Steam and the Xbox One, which actually came out on the Xbox One a few weeks ago, just launching on the PlayStation Network today, actually. The best way for me to describe Level 22 is it was fun, engaging, short, and a great time filler. If you're between major titles and you want something a little bit shorter that is still going to keep you engaged, Level 22 is definitely a game to check out. If you like the sprite-based artwork, and I mean heck, there's not too many sprite-based stealth games available on the marketplace. Overall though, I'm going to be giving Level 22 Gary's Misadventure a 6 out of 10. I definitely wish it was a little bit longer. I really did like the overall experience and atmosphere and the artwork throughout, and I definitely enjoyed the puzzle solving elements and using the various items to help me out. But that's going to wrap up this review of Level 22. I'd like to thank you for watching, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.